My grandma left me all her savings, 2.5 million and 9 properties. My parents, who threw me out at 17, showed up at my door demanding I give it to them. But when the judge read the next page, their smiles shattered, and my mom started to panic. They showed up 3 days after the funeral. I was in my apartment, still in the clothes I'd worn to the cemetery. Black suit, wrinkled, coffee-stained. I hadn't slept, hadn't eaten much, just sat on the couch, staring at nothing. The knock came just after noon, sharp, demanding, 3 hard raps. I opened the door. Mom stood there in a black dress she'd probably bought that morning. Tags maybe still on it. Dad behind her, gray suit. Both of them with tight, practiced smiles. "We need to talk," Mom said. I hadn't seen them in 8 years, not since the night they threw me out at 17. Not since Dad drove me to the bus station with a garbage bag of clothes and $20. Not since Mom said, "Don't come back." 8 years, no calls, no texts, no birthday cards. Nothing. And now here they were. I stepped aside. Let them in. They didn't sit. They stood in my tiny living room, looking around, at the thrift store furniture, the peeling paint, the water stain on the ceiling, the cheap carpet. Mom's nose wrinkled, like the place smelled bad. "Nice place," Dad said, not meaning it. "We heard about Grandma's will," Mom said, getting straight to it. "No small talk. No, how are you? No, sorry for your loss." I nodded. Waited. $2.5 million, 9 rental properties, 3 commercial buildings. Mom's voice was flat. "Controlled. That's what the lawyer told us when we called." "That's right. She left it all to you." "Yes." Mom's smile tightened, became something sharp. "That's not fair." I almost laughed. "Almost. Fair? We're her children," Dad said, stepping forward. "Her actual children. That money should go to us, to family. You're just the grandkid. The grandkid she raised for 5 years. After you kicked me out." Mom waved her hand dismissively. "You were out of control. Disrespectful. We did what we had to do. But this," she gestured vaguely at nothing. "This is different. This is family money. Real family money. It should stay in the real family." There it was. Real family. "So you want me to give it to you," I said. "It's the right thing to do." Dad's voice was firm, righteous, like he was explaining something obvious to a child. "Your grandmother would have wanted us to have it. She was just confused at the end. Old, not thinking clearly." "She wasn't confused. She was sharp until the day she died. Then, she was being manipulated," Mom snapped. "By you. You probably poisoned her mind against us, told her lies." I looked at both of them. These people who'd thrown me away like garbage, who hadn't called in 8 years, who hadn't asked if I was alive or dead. Who showed up now, 3 days after we buried the only person who'd ever loved me? "We're contesting the will," Dad said. "Matter of fact, already decided. Our lawyer says we have a strong case. Undue influence. She was elderly, vulnerable. You took advantage of her, isolated her from her real family." Mom stepped closer. Her perfume was too strong, floral and chemical. "Made my eyes water." "Or," she said softly, voice almost sweet, "you could just do the right thing. Sign it over to us. All of it. Avoid the whole ugly mess. The lawyers, the court, the publicity. Think how embarrassing it'll be for you." I smiled. "No." Her face hardened, the sweetness evaporating. "Then we'll see you in court, and we'll win, and you'll get nothing, and you'll owe us legal fees." "Get out," I said. They left. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the frame. I sat down on my couch. Goodwill couch, $40, sagging springs, and I called Grandma's lawyer, Mr. Hammond. He'd handled her estate for 30 years. "They came," I said. "I know," he replied. "They called me yesterday, very angry, making threats, saying they'd contest. They're going to do it." "I know. Your grandmother knew too. That's why she prepared." "Prepared how?" "You'll see. The court date is in 6 weeks. Don't worry about anything. Just show up." "That's it?" "That's it. Trust me. Trust her." The courtroom was small, county courthouse, 3rd floor, wood paneling dark with age, fluorescent lights humming. It smelled like old paper and floor polish and desperation. Mom and Dad sat on one side with their lawyer, a man in an expensive suit, tailored, silk tie, designer watch. He smiled too much, too big, shark smile. I sat on the other side with Mr. Hammond. He was 70-something, rumpled brown suit, thick glasses, messy gray hair. He had a large cardboard box on the table in front of him, taped shut, my name written on it in marker. The judge was a tired-looking woman, 50-something, reading glasses on a chain around her neck. She reviewed the file, flipped pages, read in silence for 5 minutes while we all sat there. Then, she looked up. "This is a will contest. The plaintiffs claim undue influence and possible elder abuse." She glanced at Mom and Dad. "You're the deceased's children?" "Yes, Your Honor," their lawyer said, standing, buttoning his jacket, gesturing broadly like he was on TV. "Our clients believe their mother was manipulated by the defendant in her final years. The entire estate, valued at over $2.5 million in liquid assets, plus 9 rental properties and 3 commercial buildings, total value approximately $5 million, was left entirely to a grandchild, while her own children received nothing, not $1. This clearly indicates undue influence, mental incompetence, possibly coercion. I've read your brief, the judge said, unimpressed. Mr. Hammond? Mr. Hammond stood slowly, joints creaking. Your Honor, Mrs. Chen was of completely sound mind until the day she died. She knew exactly what she was doing. She had specific reasons for her decision, very specific, and she anticipated this challenge, which is why we're here, the judge said. What evidence do you have of sound mind? Multiple doctors' evaluations, cognitive tests, all administered in the last year of her life, all showing perfect mental capacity. He pulled papers from the box, handed them to the bailiff. She also had the will reviewed and notarized by 3 separate attorneys, not just me. 3 independent lawyers all confirmed she understood what she was doing. The judge reviewed the documents. This seems thorough. Mrs. Chen was a thorough woman. What about the claim of undue influence? If I may, Your Honor, I'd like to read page 4 of the will, the personal statement section. Mrs. Chen insisted it be included. The judge nodded. Go ahead. Mr. Hammond pulled out the will. Thick document, legal-size paper. He cleared his throat, put on his reading glasses. To my daughter, Jennifer, and her husband, Robert. You threw my grandson out when he was 17 years old. You put his belongings in a garbage bag. You drove him to the bus station. You gave him $20. You told him not to come back. Mom's face went white. Dad shifted in his seat. Mr. Hammond continued, voice steady, clear. You told him he was worthless. You told him he'd never amount to anything. You told him you were ashamed of him. You didn't call on his 18th birthday. You didn't call on Christmas. You didn't call on his 19th birthday, when he was hospitalized after a car accident at 19, broken ribs, punctured lung, concussion. You didn't visit. You didn't call. You didn't send flowers. Their lawyer was frowning now, flipping through his papers, looking for something. He lived with me for 5 years, from 17 to 22. I watched him work 2 jobs to put himself through community college. I watched him study until 2 a.m. every night. I watched him cry himself to sleep, wondering why his own parents didn't love him, why he wasn't good enough. I watched him build a life from nothing, from a garbage bag and $20. Mom's eyes were wet now. Dad was staring at the table. He graduated with honors. He got a good job. He bought his first car. He rented his first apartment. He did it all alone, without you, without your help, without your love. Mr. Hammond paused, looked at the judge. Your Honor, there's more. Continue. So no, Jennifer and Robert, you will not get a single cent of my money. You will not get my properties. You will not get anything. You threw away the best thing that ever happened to you. You threw away your son like he was trash. He is my family, my real family. You are not. The courtroom was silent, and if you contest this will, which I know you will, because I know who you are, the following documentation will be released publicly. Mr. Hammond reached into the cardboard box, pulled out a thick folder, yellow folder, bulging with papers. Your Honor, Mrs. Chen kept records, meticulous records. She hired a private investigator. She kept every voicemail her daughter and son-in-law left over the years asking for money, every text message where they insulted their son, called him worthless, called him a mistake, every email where they called him trash. She documented every time they asked her for loans they never repaid. He pulled out more folders, set them on the table, one after another. She also had them investigated, professionally. The defendant's father, Robert Morrison, has been embezzling from his employer, Morrison and Associates, for 6 years, siphoning money from client accounts. The defendant's mother, Jennifer Morrison, committed tax fraud in 2019 and 2021, filed false deductions, claimed business expenses that never existed. Mrs. Chen had all of it documented. Bank records, tax returns, witness statements, everything. The courtroom erupted. Mom's lawyer was on his feet. Your Honor, this is— Sit down, the judge said. Saturday. Mom's hands were shaking. Dad's face was red, sweating. Mr. Hammond continued calmly. Mrs. Chen left instructions. If this will was contested, I was to report all of this documentation to the appropriate authorities, the IRS, the state attorney general, the employer, the police, everything. He looked at the judge. She wanted her daughter and son-in-law to have a choice. Accept the will, walk away, or contest it and face the consequences. The judge looked at Mom and Dad. Is this accurate? The embezzlement? The tax fraud? Their lawyer leaned over, whispered frantically. Dad whispered back. Your Honor, the lawyer said, we'd like to request a recess to confer with our clients. Is it accurate? The judge repeated. Dad stood slowly. Your Honor, this is slander. This is defamation. We'll be suing. Is it accurate? Silence. He sat back down, said nothing. The judge closed the file, looked at both lawyers. Contest denied. The will stands as written. This case is dismissed. She looked at Mr. Hammond. Regarding the documentation of criminal activity, it's already been filed with the appropriate agencies, Your Honor. IRS, State Attorney General, and local police. As of this morning, she nodded. Then we're done here. The gavel came down, sharp crack echoing through the courtroom. Mom turned to me immediately. Her face was sheet white, tears streaming. You knew this whole time. You set us up. I stood, picked up my bag. Grandma knew you'd come, I said. She knew exactly what you were, what you'd do. She planned for it. We're your parents. No, I said, looking at her. Then at Dad. You're not. You stopped being my parents 8 years ago at that bus station. Please, we'll drop the contest. We won't fight. Just don't let them prosecute. Too late. It's already done. Grandma made sure of that too. We could lose everything. We could go to jail. You should have thought about that before you threw away your son. I walked past them, down the aisle, toward the door. Mom called after me. We'll go to jail. You're sending your own parents to jail. I stopped, turned back. Looked at them one last time. You threw away your son for nothing. Now you lose everything for nothing. Seems fair. I walked out of the courtroom, into the hallway, down the stairs. Out into the bright afternoon Sunday, Mr. Hammond caught up with me on the courthouse steps, handed me a key, brass key, slightly tarnished. The properties are yours, the accounts are unlocked, the titles are being transferred. Your grandmother wanted you to have everything. I took the key. It was warm from his hand. She also left you this. He handed me an envelope, sealed, my name on the front in her handwriting, shaky, but unmistakably hers. I opened it carefully. Inside was a note, short, written on her personal stationery. Live well, sweetheart. You deserved better parents, but you became better anyway. I'm so proud of you. You were the best thing in my life. Love, Grandma. I folded it carefully, put it in my pocket. Behind me, I could hear Mom crying in the courthouse, screaming at Dad, at their lawyer, at anyone who'd listen. I didn't look back. I walked to my car, got in, started the engine.